Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. For this video I have 4 topics. All of them very important, otherwise I wouldn't have picked them. First one. The transfer of F-16s to Ukraine is underway. That is, the planes are being moved as we speak to Ukraine. And they will be flying over Ukrainian skies. We're going to discuss that one because I have great reservations that they will fly on the war zone. That's the first topic. Second topic, more concerning than the first one, is here to show us that Germany is still and moreover under the US occupation. And if Germany is under occupation, Europe is under occupation. Actually, I should be happy that my country will own you. But hey, they will come for me after they deal with you, guaranteed. We're going to discuss how the Europeans shot themselves in the foot or feet. The Americans are transferring more weapons, and what kind of weapons, to Germany. Unbelievable, but that's an escalation, no problem. Now, we have the third topic, and we find out that Russians jamming, electronic jamming capabilities make a lot of the high precision American-made weapons obsolete. Zero. Nothing. And the last one is maybe the most important one. Ukraine signs an agreement, security agreement, with one world power. You would not believe how big that world power is. I think the Russians are waving the white flag as we speak. So let's start with the beginning. Reuters, F-16 jets being sent to Ukraine from Denmark and Netherlands, Blinken says. How many? Squadrons. Escadrille? You're going to find out. I got 3 articles on that one. This one is from Reuters, the other one is from the War Zone, and the other one is from Sputnik. Washington, the first batch of US-built F-16 fighter jets are already being transferred to Ukraine from Denmark and the Netherlands, and will be flying over Ukrainian skies this summer, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said on Wednesday. All right, we are in July, right? So July, as far as I remember, is the 7th month of the year. Remember, the Ukrainians claim that by mid of this year, that is in the first 6 months, actually, in the first half of this month, Kerch Bridge will be destroyed. Past the deadline. It doesn't mean it will not happen or could not happen, but just to mention that. They said that, remember the F-16s, they were supposed to be transferred, I don't know, a few months ago, and then they kept postponing and pushing the deadline further. Now it's this summer. Summer goes what, until August? So we'll see. We'll find out what's going on, right? Yes. So let me quote Mr. Blinken, the U.S. Secretary of State Stein. I am also pleased to announce that as we speak, the transfer of F-16 jets is underway, coming from Denmark, coming from the Netherlands, Blinken said. And those jets will be flying in the skies of Ukraine this summer to make sure that Ukraine can continue to effectively defend itself against the Russian aggression. Yeah, they will fly on the Polish border by Lviv. That's where they're going to fly, I suspect. All right, next article. And the Russian article from Sputnik tells us how many planes these guys will send. An extra. War zone. Transfer of F-16s to Ukraine is now underway. This is from July 10th, 2024. 8 p.m. The long-anticipated transfer of donated F-16 Vipers to Ukraine is now underway, with the anticipation they will be operational this summer, U.S., Danish, and Dutch officials say. And the same statements from Blinken. How long does it take to transfer a plane from Denmark to Ukraine? 2 hours, 3 hours. So that was yesterday. So they are over there, all of them, counted and ready to go. Now let's go to the more important article, I would say, regarding this issue. Comes from Sputnik, and here is the title. West to supply Ukraine with squadrons of F-16 fighter jets. Now, squadron is not two, okay? It's more than two. Let's see how many these guys say, if they say. Western allies intend to supply Ukraine with entire squadrons of modern American-made F-16 fighter jets. Modern? Built in 1970s? Oh, is that modern? All right. According to a joint statement from the leaders of the US, Netherlands, and Denmark, they announced the transfer of the first of these aircraft has already begun, allowing Ukrainian forces to start using them this summer. So this is the same thing. And it says, we are committed, I'm quoting, to further enhancing Ukraine's air capabilities, which will include squadrons of modern fourth-generation F-16 multi-role aircraft. US President Joe Biden said in the joint statement with Dutch Prime Minister Dick Schoof and Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen at the NATO summit in Washington. Where is Geert Wilders as the Prime Minister of the Netherlands? You know, you can't have it all. All right, so let's go to the more important, not more important. This is, okay, you send some squadrons over there. That's one thing. 20, 30, 40. That's one thing. But what the Americans are transferring to Germany is by far more dangerous. And I'm coming to this with this article from The Hill. And this article comes from The Hill, and this is the title. United States announces it will move strategic weapons, including hypersonic missiles, to Germany. They don't have them, but they're going to move them. You know, they're trying to, the Americans are still trying to make sure that when the fly flies, when the airplane flies and has a hypersonic missile, that detaches and goes, but they can't figure that out yet. So they can't do it. It's like, I don't want to go, I don't want to go. That's the way it is. But they were struggling. But somehow they send something that they don't have. But let's see what other missiles they do, right? They send strategic weapons. The US and Germany on Wednesday announced the movement, and Germany had so much to say about it, oh my God, of more strategic weapons into Europe, including underdeveloped hypersonic missile systems as tensions continue to rise over Russia's war in Ukraine. Those interests that harness United States of America will fight Russians with you, Europeans. And then when you are going to be gone, they will say, hey, peace, let's take a peace now, all right? Peace. Why? And you're all done. And who's going to reconstruct Europe? Maybe the Russians or maybe the Chinese. Not the Americans, because I think they miscalculated a lot of things. So the White House said that in 2026, it will begin episodic deployments, end quote, of the surface-to-air missile Standard Missile 6, Tomahawk cruise missiles, and hypersonic weapons in Germany, which the US said have, and I'm quoting, significantly longer range than current land-based fires in Europe. All right, well, good for you, my friends, good for you. It says both the SM-6 and Tomahawks are primarily used a shipborne missile. So from the ship, that's right. The US has yet to develop a true hypersonic missile which flies at least 5 times the speed of sound and is maneuverable in flight. Though both Russia and China have fielded the weapons, Russia has also deployed a true hypersonic weapon in Ukraine. All right, so this is it. Next one. We have Business Insider, and the same title here. The US says it is going to put its new long-range strike missiles, including hypersonic weapons, in Deutschland über niemals. And the US announced deployment in 2026, the capability SM-6 Tomahawk and developmental hypersonic weapons. The war in Ukraine has shown need for much more deep strikes options using your territory, and the Russians will target your territory. But hey, we are defending you from very far, far away. All right, and the Americans decided that with the Germans, right? Now, here we have Business Insider, and this is where we have the Russian jamming capabilities, make a lot of weapons American-made weapons, 0. A new US-Swedish bomb, that's new, may have already been pulled from Ukraine because it's useless against Russian jamming. So this is Business Insider. This is not Sputnik or Russia Today. All right, this is from the 10th of July. Sophisticated US weapons, plural, are being jammed by Russian electronic warfare units. A relatively new US-Swedish bomb has been pulled from use. According to reports, Russia is able to scramble the GPS signals used to guide the weapons. A new precision-guided US weapon has been pulled from use by the Ukrainian military because Russia is taking them out using electronic warfare, according to reports. All right, so what do we have? Ukrainian Western officials told the Wall Street Journal that the ground-launched small-diameter bomb, GLSDB, manufactured by Boeing, and Swedish company Saab, has failed and was no longer in use pending an overhaul. The GLSDB is a guided bomb with a range of 94 miles. That's about 160 almost kilometers, thanks to its small wings that extended from its body. In 2022, marketing materials from the bomb said its navigation system is, I'm quoting, supported by a high jamming resistance GPS. I think not. And now, my friends, let me disclose to you what security agreement Ukraine signed with the country of Luxembourg. Are you not entertained? Huh? Are you not entertained? I'm very entertained. And I'm going to tell you what Luxembourg is, what a big army Luxembourg has, and why it has the, I think, second standard of living in the world. I'm going to show you why. Can you guess why? It's a country like this small, with 500,000 people. All right? Ukrainska Pravda. Ukraine signed security agreement with Luxembourg. The Russians are just, they poop their pants, they take their pants up, and they put them with a stick and peace. President Volodymyr Zelensky and Prime Minister of Luxembourg, Luc Frieden. Let me just look at his face. I don't know, Mr. Frieden. Friedman, anyway, have signed a bilateral agreement on security cooperation and long-term support on Wednesday, 10 of July in Washington. The agreement posted on the website, it says here 20 chapters that specify Luxembourg's support for Ukraine in the context of countering full-scale Russian invasion. Let's look at Luxembourg. Luxembourg. It's a small landlocked country in Western Europe. Right? It's bordered by Belgium in the west and the north, Germany to the east, and France to the south. You got that? I'll show you kind of where it is in Europe. There's the ability. All right, there it is. Oh, that's that little small, not the circle, the thing in the circle, the fly poop in a circle. That's where Luxembourg is, and Russians are calling these guys to have a little bit of peace. All right, so let's see. That's not what's important about this. It says Luxembourg is a developed country with an advanced economy. Very interesting what kind of economy they have. And one of the world's highest GDP, PPP, per capita, and per IMF and World Bank estimates. Now, the nation's levels of human development and LGBT equality are ranked among the highest in Europe. Okay. All right, let's see. We're going to go to... We're going to go to economy because that's a very... let's go to the number of people, right? So we got that. GDP. Population. January 2024 estimates 672,000. That's all, right? So a little bit more than 1 million people ready to fight. All right, fight. All right, and what else do we have? Official language, nationalities, Luxembourgers, Portuguese 14%. Luxembourgers are 50%. Portuguese 14%, French 7.6%, Italians 3.7%, 21.4% other. Great. All right, so let's go. And by the way, it is a unitary parliamentary constitutional monarchy. So they have a king or something, a monarch over there. All right, we like democracy. And I'm guessing that monarch is elected every never years. Military. Aren't you dying to see? All I can tell you on that is that they don't tell us any numbers and nothing about that. But they have an air force. And the countries like this small, they have an air force. If they take off, they're already in France or somewhere. Geography. All right, it says Luxembourg is one of Europe's smallest countries, ranking 168th in the size of 194 independent countries of the world. It's about 2,586 square kilometers. That's about 1,000 square miles. Measuring 82 kilometers long and 57 kilometers wide. So that's 51 miles long and 35 miles wide. That's the biggest this thing here. Environment, climate, economy. This is what we care. The industrial sector dominated by steel until the 1960s, because I was like, steel, what resources these guys have? But how do you bring the steel in? Well, because you got money, 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 money. How do you get it? Money, money, money. I'll tell you, that's a tax haven over there, and not only. Has since diversified to include chemicals, rubber, and other products. During recent decades, growth in the financial sector has more than compensated for the decline in steel production. Services, this kind of services, especially banking and finance, account for the majority of the economic output. You got that? Banks. International banks, mind you. Luxembourg is the world's second largest investment fund center after the US, the most important private banking center in the Eurozone. Private banking, not. And Europe's leading center for reinsurance companies. Moreover, Luxembourg's government has aimed to attract internet startups, with Skype and Amazon being two of the main internet companies that have shifted their regional headquarters to Luxembourg. Other high-tech companies have established themselves in Luxembourg, including 3D scanner developer manufacturer Artec 3D. All right, in April 2009, concern about Luxembourg's banking secrecy laws, as well as its reputation as a tax haven, led to its being added to a gray list of nations with questionable banking arrangements by the G20. Got that? All right, my friends. So if you want to take care of the banking system, you take care of Bank of no. You go to Luxembourg, you go to Switzerland a little bit. Then you go to the guys in Germany and Great Britain. Leave France alone. They're communists. They don't have banks. They have benches where they can do. Here it is, my friends. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.